Dylan, can you also record this call, please? I will
Yeah.
make you co-host. You can do that too, just in case. Wonderful. So thanks so much, everybody, for being here. I think there's some people joining us a bit later. They said they will be a little bit late. So welcome to Eternal Forest Camp community. Yes, we're making it happen. I'm so excited and I'm so proud of all of us that we managed to carve out time of our busy schedules. So today we thought that it would be really nice for all of us to meet each other. We are, I don't remember how many, but I think we're about 16, 17 people in the camp. So that's super exciting. This is like really self-selected people who really wanted to be in the camp and made kind of a conscious choice. So very, very, very inspiring. And today idea would be for us to see each other face to face. For Dylan and I, 17 people, great, we're 17 people together. For Dylan and I to speak about the program that we formulated, co-created with some of you already as well, which is very exciting. This the spirit of co-creation, to hear about your ideas about the program and also your suggestions and your extra contributions. Actually, I think almost everybody here is contributing something already, so that's great, but we will hopefully have more co-creation happening just before the gathering and there. Just to say before we go to the program that our camp is open camp, so there is still possibility to join, and our camp is open for the main reason that Eternal Forest is project that works with everybody and with land-based projects and communities, regenerators, reforestation, ecologists like Justin, who is here listening in very attentively, I hope. And I don't know if he's joining the gathering, but we hope to collaborate one day as well. So we also have space and time today to hear your questions if you still have some. But most questions hopefully will be resolved by us sharing with you the practical guide that Audrey and organization created so beautifully. Like literally almost every question I think is answered there. So we're going to do circle today with everybody because a lot of people are joining later. And our circle will be focused on offers and needs. So we will spare it for the middle of our conversation, and we would love to start with the program. So what we're going to do right now is to actually share the program on the screen, but I'm also going to put the program in the chat for you in case it's easier for you to actually see on your computer, because sometimes if the connection is interrupting, is not so clear. There are small letters there. So please let me know if you can all access it. So this program is for our internal reference and also for the reference of some partners from other camps that we're inviting to facilitate certain sessions. Let me just check that this program is open for everybody. Okay, I'm gonna open it for everybody with link to view. So you should be able to access it. In case you don't, just refresh. So let me see if I can share my screen. Welcome new people who just arrived, Ines and Pedro. I was just sharing that we're going to talk a little bit about the program inside Eternal Forest Camp, and then we're going to hear from everybody about your observations, your needs, and your offers inside the camp. And later on today, we'll also answer any questions that you might have. I think I still have a bit of issue. Dylan, can you share from your screen the program? Because I think my Zoom on my computer kind of still doesn't want to do it. Does it work for you?
It's giving me an exclamation mark, which usually isn't a good sign with computers.
Audrey, do you think you could share your screen in the program that I just sent now in the chat?
Yes, the only thing is I have to go to breakout room in a second.
Okay.
So what's happening with the
I can't share.
AC? Maybe can you share it?
I can't share my screen.
Can someone else share it in this whole group?
Yeah,
Maybe?
actually anybody can share. Rebecca, can
Yeah?
you please
Thank
share?
you,
I can
Rebecca.
make you a co-host. 1 second. Yeah, I made you co-host now. Thank you. Wonderful. Thank you so much. Really appreciate. Fantastic. So I'm gonna zoom you through this program just so that you have kind of a larger overview of what we are planning. So some of you are arriving a bit earlier for the build, and some of you are arriving exactly on the 11th for the setup. So we are there for 5 days. The first day, the 11th of September, is really arrival day and the day of the opening ceremony. The opening ceremony is for the whole gathering of tribes. So Rebecca, if you could scroll a little bit to the right, so we could see the schedule for this afternoon. So yes, the check-in, if I'm correct, if Audrey is still here, I think starts at 10 at the garden, and you will be arriving throughout the day. So once you arrive and you set up your tent or you go to your glamping, you might just kind of help us with whatever things that we need to finalize for the camp. Mostly everything will be set up, but our main activity for that day, specifically together as a camp, is to create a really beautiful kind of offering to the land. So it's experience of creating nature's altar together. And we're very excited about offering this experience. I will lead that, and we will need each and every one of us. So it's more like rooting ourselves into the moment of before the actual large opening ceremony of Gathering of Tribes. So that's what we're going to do together on that day. And then after the opening ceremony, we have dinner and completely free time, because I believe this time would be really for, you meeting everybody and kind of mingling around, and probably there will be some evening activity as well. Great, thank you. So if you would go back to the morning for the 12th of September, as you can see, every day here we have a morning practice. Some of the morning practices Yasmin is offering, which will be yoga. Dylan is offering some other practice in the morning, and we still have, I think, maybe one more slot on the 15th. So someone else here could offer like a morning movement, let's say. So it's something that grounds us in the day, sets the atmosphere for the day, and allows our bodies to be really flexible, relaxed, and rooted to do whatever comes our way this day. From 8:30 until 9, we have beautiful practice offered by Maria, who is here already. It's called standing.
Hey, how's it going? You have a surprise visitor.
Okay,
Can everyone mute themselves if they're not
who's
speaking?
talking? Yeah, it would be nice if you can mute yourselves, please.
Thank you.
Thanks. Yeah, so we
I'm
have
genuinely surprised who the surprise visitor is there. Like, at least we can find that out.
nice to see you,
Okay,
River.
I can mute.
Always good to have River in the forest. Thanks for coming. Okay, so we have practice standing with the earth. It's experiential practice of connecting and rooting with the place, with the land. And Maria is here. Perhaps later on when we talk about offers, she can also explain a little bit. And then we just that's just every day, and that is before breakfast. Then we allocated time and space for breakfast, so you can have your super chill hour. You can do whatever you like with this hour, have or not have your coffee, and then our typical time starts at 10. And during these 3 days, what we decided to do is the morning time we decided to allocate to thinking, dreaming, imagining how we co-create eternal forest throughout the world. And there are different sessions that will be facilitated by different people. We are inviting very actively, and this is also an ask to you all, we're inviting actively to the sessions leaders of land-based projects. So whoever is building a village, an eco-retreat, whoever is creating a project with the land, we would love them to come and join some of these visioning sessions, as you can see happening on the 12th of September and 13th of September. And we have also a little bit deeper layer session for some organizations that already know our work, and we would like to brainstorm together how to take this work basically deeper, layers deeper. And that's the session on the 14th of September. If you could maybe scroll down, Rebecca, a little bit. I don't see it. Yes. And we have another session on another day. So that's the morning. And we also leave some time before lunch, time for other things to emerge, some other kind of sessions for co-creation, but also for going and meeting other projects after these main sessions. So if we go after lunch, just to show you a little bit about what we are thinking, what kind of subjects we want to tackle more, we have identified a few themes that we are very excited to bring kind of forward together. And some of them are, as you can see here, Earth Voice and Earth Rights. So how do we use the voice of the forest, and how do we work with the voice of the forest to bring it in the forefront in our organization, but also how do we actually bring it forward in any organization that we're working with? So how on our, boards, in our games, in our organizations, in our projects, in our experiences, the voice of the forest is always highlighted. And how do we actually experience it? So it will be a co-creative session, something like a theater, right? Dylan, maybe you can talk a little bit about that one, and maybe you can also talk us through a little bit about regenerative funding methodology session.
Sure. So with the Earth Rights and Earth Voice, this has been a movement that's picking up in the last 20 years, I would say. And the idea is to imagine how would the forest speak if it could have a say in how we're treating it and how we are building its legacy. So we are working closely with, or we are looking to work closely with some lawyers in creating these kind of legal documents, but at the same time, it wants to be from the interest of the ecosystems and not from the interest of humans, right? So we're really taking another perspective and reimagining things here. So it's going to be really dropping into an imaginative session that will be taking us out of our minds and more into the perspective of so many different angles of nature. So I'm really looking forward to this one, to see how it's co-created. With the regenerative funding methodologies, which is on the 14th at the same time, we're going to be looking at basically how we can dive into bringing funding through to all of these different projects, which we want to be connecting with, whether that's grant funding or EU funding. And we're also going to be bringing in people from other organizations and with greater expertise than our own in this subject, to help facilitate this session. So yeah, if you know anyone as well, and one of our asks, I guess, is to be able to, as an Eternal Forest attendee and ambassador, to come and eventually throughout the days preceding to be able to invite people to this session, because I think it'll be massively impacting for not just ourselves, but other projects involved. So yeah, that's it from me for these two sessions. I'm just looking
Thank you.
forward to see how it's created.
Thanks a lot. Yes, so I know that a lot of you here have your own projects and are thinking about, how to bring cash flow and, the flow of goodness and resources into your project. So this is really calling upon, the wisdom of everybody and really thinking together, how do we co-create this cyclical abundance of the money flow into all regenerative projects. So we're just basically hosting a circle and calling for people to drop in and see how we can contribute to mapping those possibilities and how things connect throughout the ecosystem. So we
I just want to say
yeah,
that
sure.
I think these two sessions will also be like two of the biggest takeaways for everyone attending Eternal Forest Camp and beyond, that are something actionable that, that is a serious value that can be taken away.
Thank you. Yeah, so then you see this other kind of afternoon block that has a combination of ceremonies, experiences, art, Eternal Forest Academy, which is a new idea that we also want to prototype together with you. And here are already offers from yourselves. So I would like to maybe let you speak for yourself about what you're offering, so we can make already circle with who is present here. And if your session is not yet on the program, but you already send me something, don't worry, we can talk about everything today. Just raise your hand and say, I would like to host the session and I need 1 hour and this is this and this, and Dylan can make notes while we're speaking perhaps, and then the program will be complete after that session. So this is really a draft for us to jam on today. So if you don't see your name there and you're like, oh my God, I sent before information, don't worry about that. So I suggest we do the following. Perhaps I will call out on you and you can maybe explain very, very briefly what you're bringing, what's the core theme of your session and how does it feel and look like. So first one that I can see in the schedule is January Blossoms Rebecca. Do you want to speak a little bit about what you would like to bring into this time and space together?
I'd be happy to.
Thank
I'm
you.
grateful to be here. So thanks, Heini. If it would be okay, I'd love also to change the URL, and I'm happy to send that to you. So what I'd like to bring is the idea of a reciprocity marketplace. We at Value Flow have created a platform that is a crowdfunding platform that doesn't only raise money, but it also raises reciprocity. And what I'd like to do in my session, which Evgenia and I haven't yet to talk about, but what I would like to share is this idea of a reciprocity marketplace that we can start to learn and teach one another and participate in, and in a whole new way. And calling it even a marketplace is not even a fair statement. It's a bridge word that we have used in the past, but I think that we can even come up with something much more regenerative and delicious than marketplace. And the idea is to be able to share not just money, to actually dive into needs and to think about what else is possible. And so within this time period, to start thinking about that and have a reciprocity experience throughout our time together over the few days. that we can bring out into the world, so that also being a part of the regenerative funding methodologies, that we're not just thinking about money all the time, because money is only one currency. There are many, many much more important currencies that we in the regenerative world need to really, really hone and activate. So that's what I'm bringing. I'm bringing the world of reciprocity.
I love that. Thank you so much. Yes, so anybody who hasn't sent me yet, by the way, and you're hosting a session, send me a beautiful image. If the time is agreed, that would be our time, and a little description of 3 lines, your name, and if you have an organization that wants to be mentioned, then it should be there too. And then we will include it on the public Gathering of Tribes program. I haven't done it yet because I'm waiting for information from all of you, okay? So, Maria, why would you like to talk a little bit about the session
Yes.
you're doing in the afternoon of 14th of September?
Yes, very gladly.
I'm jumping around a little bit, but then I will talk about Eternal Forest Academy and other things. Thank you.
Okay. So, are you all seeing me? I'm not seeing myself, but I suppose you are.
We see you,
Okay.
yes. We see
Okay,
the
good.
program. We can also switch between you and, hold on.
No, it's okay. I was just wondering.
Would you like
because
me to
I'm-
unshare that so that we can see one another? Evgenia, would you like
Yeah,
to
Yes,
unshare?
we can do that. Yeah, sure. And then we can go back
Okay.
to the program when needed.
nice. So, yeah, well, I'm bringing Standing with the Earth, and Standing with the Earth is an activism ritual that I've tried the first time in 2019 in Berlin. I just came back from Berlin, where I lived the last 13 years. And I just got this from a German activist, and then my vision was to start a community, and I've started a community in Berlin. Nowadays we are now there standing, and my vision is to bring Standing with the Earth to Portugal. So thank you so much, Eugenia, for this chance, because my vision is exactly to go into connection and into networking for this vision to be true. And Standing with the Earth is an activism ritual in which we go into connection with the land, and it's about embodiment, and about embodiment being also political, in the sense that through this grounding and embodiment we can then have a platform to do our activism action work, be it regeneration in any way. Or so Standing with the Earth is also seen as a ritual to be done in big events like we did in Berlin with 400 people in the Brandenburger Tor, or in big squares. It does not have to be only in nature, but it's also to call attention to the earth, of course, in a very, very practical, pragmatic way, that is going into silence with ourselves in community, bringing these community values and in connection with the land. And how can I, from this connection, my own connection with the land that is of course different from everybody else, how can I go
I think
I think of activism as doing something, and it's about really going into this connection and into silence, and to do it also in a daily practice, to do it in all kinds of events and communities. So that's what I will be bringing then every morning.
Thank you. Do you want to mention briefly why we are bringing the session about cacao as a
Okay.
healing medicine, and what is our angle for that? I think that's an important
Okay.
one as well.
Yes, that's important. So I'm working as a healer. I'm a shamanic practitioner, and I do work with cacao. And I notice nowadays that the medicines are being used in a very, very old paradigm capitalistic way, in this new age scene. And there are several ethical problems with it that are happening. And I think it's important to make an approach that how can we use this medicine in an ethical way, and how important it is to use it. Because it's being used in a very supermarket McDonald's way. I had some episodes that happened with me. So it's about when are we going to start working with the medicines in this reciprocity way? How could we manage to do that in the best way? Yeah.
Thank you so much, Maria. This is wonderful, and thanks so much for sharing about this really important work. So great. I'm looking forward to participating.
Mhm.
Andrea, why don't you speak a little?
Hello everyone. I'm going to be bringing an earth treasure vase that I'm stewarding. This is a tradition from the Tibetan Buddhist lineage, and Cynthia Gers has been carrying it outside of Nepal for the last 30 years. And there is today a global healing mandala with these earth treasure vases filled with prayers and intentions buried around the world. The first one was buried near Los Alamos laboratory in Santa Fe by Cynthia Gers and Joanna Macy, who a lot of you might know from her work in this field that is so essential to all of us. I had the privilege of coming across this practice in 2020 during the confinement through an online serendipitous sort of confluence. And a year and a half ago, I met Cynthia in person, and I accompanied her to bury an earth treasure vase in Delphi in Greece. And the earth treasure vases, what their mission or their purpose or their power is in how to bring healing and protection to the earth and to support in the collective awakening. And so this particular vase that I have asked to steward will be buried somewhere in the Iberian Peninsula, probably in Spain. And the intention for this vase I dedicate to regeneration, to what is possible and to the potential to regeneration. So for me, I only just went to pick it up in June in Santa Fe. So it's only just really, it's like a newborn baby with me. I haven't yet, it will be my first outing to come to an event like this and to be able to, in a circle of people, more than talk about it, offer the possibility to open the vase, to receive one by one all of our collective intentions and prayers, that we can name our dreams and our sorrows, what we feel needs to be healed, what we would like to bring. And then each one will have the opportunity to make little offerings into the vase. Could be a little bit of cacao, could be a little bit of a leaf of lavender from your garden, or a rose petal. It's whatever one feels called to offer into the vase, that goes in. And once the vase will be full, after, I imagine, a year or two, it will be sealed and buried and then left there to do its work. So I'm, although we have a regenerative project for a regenerative business ecosystem in out of Spain called El Santo, my partners will be going into the fractal regenerative camp and to all the other camps, and I'm going to be holding the spirit, the dream, no, the daring to dream 1,000 years. And there's a beautiful poem that I would like to share as well about the inauguration of 1,000 years of healing, no, after this is the moment. So that's what I'll be bringing. And I think I'm in for, I think it's the last evening after dinner. So we'll all know each other. We will have, come to know the vase as well in the altar. And then the time will have come to open it and infuse it with our prayers. And Maria is also, you were there in Berlin, you mentioned burying the vase there.
Yes. Yeah, because I was with Cynthia Gers online. We were like 900 women doing this sadhana with Shameli Adak and Cynthia Gers. And she was doing this in Delphi. Yeah, you were there too.
I was in that online course together.
Yeah, me too. Me too. And then in our group in Berlin, in our Standing with the Earth community, I proposed for ourselves to make our own earth vase And then we buried it in the place where we are standing every Saturday in Earth Base. So when you told about that, I was like, wow.
Yes. So that was amazing. It was this sadhana becoming Gaia's
Yes.
oracle. And that was
Yes,
my,
Gaia's Oracle.
I awoke during that sadhana to my commitment to be serving the earth. And 2 years later, I met Evgenia at Rebuild. And since
Wow.
saying yes in my heart during that sadhana that I wanted, because to be in service to Gaia, I didn't know really how, but yes, resounding yes in my heart. And it's all, you know, here we are. This is the next step on the path to, I can't wait to meet all of you and bueno, and co-create and learn and share and dream 1,000 years and 1,000 sanctuaries.
Thank you, Andrea. So wonderful. So wonderful. Wonderful. So let's go. Who is next on my screen? I know Riva wants to share some very special offering with us. So it's not
Sure,
yet in
happy
the
to.
program, so we're going to put it in
It's
the
a
program.
mysterious, yeah, not on the program. There's two things I'm offering. One thing will be with Eternal Forest, and I just came out with it about 5 minutes ago, and it's called Eternal Dreaming, and it will be a guided napping experience where the prompt is about napping into the future. And then everyone has just a little nap for 15, 20 minutes and let the ideas come to them. And then we do a sharing circle afterwards to collect those visions from the future, those eternal visions from the future. So less in the head and more in the embodied frequency of receiving. And then the second offering I will be bringing to the gathering in general. I don't quite have the name for this just yet, but it's something along the lines of the Library of Emergent Wisdom. And it's going to be a library for the gathering of the tribes. And there's going to be a whole bunch of little stations there to like gather insights and prompt interesting insights from lots of the different people coming. So I'm open to any and all co-collaboration on that front as well. At this stage, I've got a little 5-meter bell tent that I've got a few stations that I've worked out already. But yeah, open to input if anyone is sparked by that. Anyway, thanks, Ev.
Can I ask
and
a question
great-
about the collecting of the wisdom? Is it recordings? Are they like video recordings that everybody will contribute to, or how do you see practice?
So I'm not sure if any of you guys have been to one of the stations. Will be an audio input. I'm not sure if you guys have been to any weddings lately, but there's this kind of like audio guest book. So I'll have a telephone, an old school looking telephone with a prompt on it, and you kind of pick it up, and then you talk into the telephone, whatever the story is, and so there'll be a few different prompts. That will be one input, but there's 3 other stations as well. So I don't want to give too much away. But I'm open if any of you want to suggest prompts as well.
Yes,
prompts
yes, I
or
want
questions.
to suggest, why don't we do, if that is like an overall offering to Gathering of Tribes, can we do a collab with specifically with Eternal Forest where we come up with the prompt collectively perhaps, and then we could record whoever is coming and we can actually support you maybe in terms of specific time or specific station at the Eternal Forest, so we could actually collect those prompts. We could maybe even seal them for some time and like reveal them at the next gathering. I don't know. It's just like one idea.
It would be sealed by me, absolutely. But yeah, I mean, the phone is very easy to move around, so we could definitely do something like that. Absolutely, definitely open to that.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. So let's think about the right timing for that, and then we can put it in the program and put a little description and put it online so people know about it.
And of course, Eternal Dreaming works best after lunch. So, Spanish style after siesta. Not after siesta, but like after lunch, 2 to 4. So I'm not sure if that works in the schedule anywhere, but see what you guys can do.
Yeah, great. Thank you so much. So who else has not spoken? Daisy and Dinesh have not spoken yet. So who would like to go first?
I can go. Hi. So I'm Places Dara Morgana on the thingy, but I'm gonna be doing a performance in which I will become an eternal tree. It's actually right over this tree. I'm gonna be hanging from I'm gonna start as a seed, and then I'm gonna be hanging from a harness. And it's gonna be like, and when I basically, people start pulling me up as I become a tree with all these eucalyptus branches that I'm making. And when I get to the top, I open my branches, and like little recycled paper made of with seeds and little chestnuts that have like things are gonna come out. And then I'm gonna be giving a talk called Inhabiting the Self, from trauma land to compost land. But I don't know if I'm doing it with Eternal Forest or where. So I guess that's a surprise for Lucinia and Dylan. But I have to practice that talk, so I thought about bringing it to, the Eternal Forest and Gathering of Tribes. And then I'm gonna be also helping in the opening experience. I'm really bad at spoiling surprises, so I'm not gonna say anything, but there's something really cute happening for everyone that enters Gathering of Tribes. There's a really wholesome collective experience happening. So I'm helping a bit on that also. But the main thing is I'm gonna become a tree. So
We're all gonna witness her becoming a tree, Daisy. Look forward to that. Yeah.
Me
We might
too.
join you somehow. We all
I
want
would
to
actually
become a
love
tree so we
to.
can have more forest.
Yes. So yeah. And it was all inspired by the Eternal Forest, actually, that this whole performance was born. So I'm actually really also, grateful for the inspiration to have been there and the space.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Look forward to that. Ines, I know that you're also preparing something special. Would you like to share?
Hello, everyone. Well, what am I sharing here? I'm sharing, I think, question marks, because although I have an idea to work, I would like to, in fact, listen deeply to where I am, where I'm going to be, and listen deeply to everyone, to all of you. And then work out of that. I want to listen to the earth, and as I said in my proposal, it's extremely important that, for me, that I listen to the forest and to the earth where the forest is, and respond accordingly. So it is really a immersive process that I want to go into in order to then bring out whatever. It is also as far as I am concerned, a participatory thing. So it's not, I would like people to join in, as I will join people doing whatever response and whatever they are working with. So it is that I'm quite open, and I want to be open. I don't want to have a recipe, except that I would like at the beginning to have people with me, because, as I say, it is participatory, it is listening from within, listening to the environment that we are going to be in, and to each other. Because what we are dealing with at this moment in time, we need to be, as you know, all of you know, we need to really be immersed and united. So unity, co-connection, and co-creation is very important. That's it.
Thank you, Ines. And Ines was at the, well, some of you were at the first gathering. Ines was there. Who else? Andrea was there. Dylan was there. Yes, so we already veterans. Wonderful, thank you so much. So we have a couple of more people here who haven't spoken yet. So I would like to ask you if you would like to speak, if something comes to your mind in terms of any offer you would like to make, or a session that you would like to hold. Pedro and Justin, there are two people who haven't spoken yet. And I'm super happy to just unmute yourself and get going.
Okay, so can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So what I bring essentially is curiosity for your approach about forest regeneration and protection. And so I'm involved with several Portuguese environmental organizations, in particular Campo Aberto, which is based in Porto, which is in fact heavily evolved with the Alliance for Native Forests, which tries to create synergies between different forest regeneration projects in Portugal. So I'm curious about your approach because I think it's new, it's different, and it's important because clearly the rational-based approach for natural conservation is try to show people that it's important from a rational point of view to restore and conserve nature is not working. So we need something new, something more emotional based, something which can connect with art, like the approach you are doing. So that's essentially what I bring is curiosity about your approach and how it can work. I don't have any particular proposal of activities to do during the meeting, but something can come up at that point.
Yes.
I think I don't know if it is it's in programs, but something I'm a particular form of art that I'm very interested in is poetry. So it would be interesting to co-create a collective poem about the forest at some point.
Absolutely. Here we go. That's a proposal. And why not? We hold it together. I love poetry. And if many of you have come to my experiences, I feel poetry is a great connector between the scientific knowledge, even understanding of biodiversity and ecologies, what we can, learn from the forest directly from the scientists and people who live with the forest, and to the emotional, spiritual self. And I've been doing this work, kind of connecting the two through poetry. And
Yeah.
I'm super, super happy to maybe together we could co-create a session where we could, co-create poetry in the moment from the site-specific, and feeling specific with that forest and that land. And yeah, co-create a poetry together with the circle of whoever would like to participate. And I just wanted to say that I'm super happy and I'm super grateful that you are joining. It means a lot to me. The organizations that you mentioned, I know, and I've been observing work of basically every single conservation organization in Portugal, and I've done project in Porto this year. So it means a lot to me that you are joining. And yeah, you're also in the neighborhood because we are very close to Porto. So for me, you also represent other organizations that are located nearby and working in the north. So thank you so much for making an effort.
Okay. Thank you.
Great. So, Justin, I would love to hear a little bit from you. We don't know if you're joining or not yet, but please go ahead and share your observations. Really good to have you here with us today.
Thank you, Evgenia, for the invitation. Evgenia and I have known each other for a long time. I'm an ecological practitioner. I do actual ecological restoration, so I have a big, long scientific approach to ecological restoration, but not from a European perspective. I'm South African, so I have a very African perspective, which is much of what Dylan was saying. It's very related to nature and what nature actually represents for the social aspect of the African, where they are completely reliant on nature. There is no technology. Even the access to water or electricity is still slow, and it's coming. So everything relates to how they manage their local environments and how they relate to their local environments. I've also had an incredible experience of working in some of the national parks in South Africa and Southern Africa. And just to put you in perspective, one of the national parks is a third the size of Portugal. So, you know, when I came to Portugal, large scale is not large scale. You know, so the concepts are very different here for me specifically, and also the approaches. So we have a very scientific top-down approach to ecological restoration and ecology and everything. And I think this is where the strength is in what you guys are representing, is this ability to do things from the bottom up. Because it, as Pedro was saying, it relates directly to your relationship and the story you tell. That's the important thing. If you go to Africa and you ask them about certain aspects that relate to the ecological world, they tell you a story. They don't know the science, but in that story, the science is there because it comes from a heuristic aspect of their traditional knowledges and how that knowledge is passed down, trial and error and all of these things. So we learn a heck of a lot by just listening and to many of these rural communities. So this is my background. I did a master's degree in London on this, and I'm busy doing, I'm on a research project here that is looking at ecological restoration in Portugal from a practical perspective. So many of the things that you said, reciprocity, is very, it's embedded in the philosophies of the Aboriginal people. And you're American, Rebecca? Canadian or American? Sorry.
American.
So the American Indian has a deep sense of reciprocity. And reciprocity is the concept of giving something back. So we don't take everything out, which is what our economic system does. It just removes everything without replacing or recovering anything. So reciprocity is something that I feel is very, very important. There's Australia, which is also has a deep Aboriginal aspect. It also talks a lot about reciprocity as fixing the mischief. So we go back and we fix the impacts that we've done, but not from our perspective, which is how we do it here. European ecological restoration is about the creation of new productive systems, not the recovery of the ecological system that is in itself productive. So it doesn't look after the well-being of everything. It only looks after the well-being of what we want it to look after. So that's one of the narrow aspects that I think we need to look at. And this is something that I think is very impressive in the discussion that Evgenia has. Also, the concept of restoration, you know, from a scientific perspective, restoration is a simple concept. It's the recovery of ecological function, the functions of ecology, which are the very things that we rely on to live: clean air, water, fertile soil. That's it. It's just that simple. And if we can't understand this from that perspective, then restoration for us is just a process that is defined in a very narrow perspective. And then, of course, there's regeneration. So we get a little bit confused, I think, in terms of how we frame restoration and regeneration. For me, regeneration is the human aspect of everything. Nature doesn't have regeneration. Nobody in nature, if you open the nature library and you look, they have no thing called regeneration. They have a concept or a process that is natural. It just happens. If all the componential structures in place, it happens. You don't have to do anything. But us as humans, we need a little tweak. We need to understand, and I think the framing that you guys are making here in terms of the concept of regeneration, the idea that we can be of this planet, not on this planet. We are of this planet. We have nowhere else to go. And we need to understand this concept very, very much, because the existential threats to us are becoming very real in terms of what we are doing to the planet, not what the planet is doing to us. This concept that, oh my goodness, we've got hurricanes and flooding and things, that's a consequence of our impact on the planet. Yes, there is a geological time, and yes, we can go back millions of years and say, well, there was the ice age and there was the geological age, but those happen over thousands and thousands or hundreds of thousands of years, if not millions of years. What we've done has happened literally in a couple of hundred years. So we have this impact, and I think it's very, very responsible. It's our responsibility, because I look at everybody here and I see an older generation. I don't see the young generation. It's our responsibility in terms of this intergenerational equity. We need to pass this knowledge on, and we need to create the processes that are needed to do this, the reciprocity, as Rebecca said. Dylan talking about restoration, about really understanding what nature is. It's not something you go to. It's something that we are inherently in. And then, of course, what Pedro was talking about, the concepts of regeneration. How do we create this awareness and the sensitivity to the impacts that we have done? Because Michael Marder, who is a philosopher, and he always said one of the things that we fail to understand is everything we do, we start in the middle. We don't start at the beginning. So what we're in the middle of something. So we have to look back, as Rebecca said, reciprocity. We have to look in the middle and say, what is it that we need to do, restoration? And then we got to look to the future. But we have to build the future from the present. You can't wait for the future to come. We have to build it from the present. So regeneration. And all of these aspects, I think, are fundamental to what you guys are doing. And I hope that you can pass this message on. I won't be able to join you in 5 at the gathering, because I'll be in South Africa. I have a very old father who is in a dire strait in South Africa, and I'm going to go and visit him. But I wish you all the best, and I am very happy to be part of the tribe.
Justin, thank you so much. Thanks so much for sharing, and it means a lot to me and to us to have you here with us. I just wanted to say a couple of things to continue on what you were sharing. Specifically, yes, I agree with you. Somehow our camp is all quite grown-up people. Let's put it this way. There are some people who are a little bit younger and a little bit older. What is actually cooking right now, and this is a very new idea. However, this idea is so simple and so straightforward and very logical. And this idea emerged from one of my conversations with one organization in New York as I was visiting this year, and I was doing my work there in the upstate New York, in the ancient forest of Adirondacks, and then New York City. So we were conversing with one community-based organization that has worked for about 20 years with teenagers. They do a lot of educational work, artistic work, and so on. And I said, why don't we pilot an Eternal Forest Academy? And you guys can hold the space as educators, as somebody who already worked with kids, you know exactly how to do it. And we kick off a forest, a practical way of engaging teenagers to learn about ecologies and all these questions that we are discussing, but we actually built a forest. And every time you work with new generation of teenagers, you engage them, and those who have done the work at the beginning, they will be coming back to observe, help, do whatever work needs to be done on the forest and keep going. So this is a new idea of Eternal Forest Academy that we would like actually to pilot at the Gathering of Tribes, to co-create, brainstorm, and think through together with you. And we are going to actually include it into the overall vision of eternal forest sanctuaries, alongside with physical sanctuaries, with art science residency, and now it's going to be hopefully an educational add-on to that, because we believe that it's really, really important to start engaging with much younger generation from the get-go. So this is going to be all part of that. I think everybody so far has spoken about their offerings and contributions. There will be many more. There will be space we left on purpose for co-creation and some emergence of certain things that will be there because they just emerge from the space. I will also offer an Eternal Forest experience, a new one based on my experience with the land. I will be there in advance, a few days before that. What else we would like to mention today? So some people are not here, so their offerings are in the program, and we'll finalize everything and share some final things. What else do we need to mention? We are going to think also about something quite new, and we would like to think together with you. Eternal Forest would like to imagine how an ambassador program would look and feel like. So we want all of you and people who are at the gathering to take a seed of Eternal Forest, a little seed, and take it to the world, take it to the other camps, and also take it further in, in the world. So we don't have a solution yet. We don't know how it looks and feels like, but we would like to start thinking what would be an ambassador program like, and what would mean to be an ambassador of Eternal Forest, going into the world and seeding this idea everywhere. So we don't have too much time right now to discuss that. I just wanted to kind of plant this idea in your, in your field, and ask you to think together towards the gathering of tribes, and maybe we can already start putting some ideas on our common chat as we go. Justin, by the way, even I know that even if you can't join, if you want, you can tell me, and I can add you to our kind of community ideation chat. It's in Telegram, so you can already observe what's happening. But also, if you don't want to have too much noise, like you don't have to, we can always have a call afterwards and share our, our harvest from the gathering. So that's that. I know that a lot of you know who are other camps. So think about who we do need to bring for our visioning sessions and other sessions about the organizational structure, the funding, and the dreaming of the flow of abundance, and so on. So there are definitely village-based and community-based projects all over Gathering of Tribes. So as you're gonna meet people, I would love you to think how to also invite them to our camp, to certain sessions, and contribute and brainstorm together. And what else am I missing, Dylan? Help me.
We hadn't touched on the greater than hosted session with but yeah, by greater than, no, about governance and the organizational structure, which I think is going to be also a really powerful takeaway. This is in the middle of the program.
So there is a camp that is coming together, and they offered us to help us to host session, imagining what kind of organization will be Eternal Forest. So it will be also a co-creative session. Everybody can participate. And this is to imagine an organization that can actually hold space for a movement to emerge around the world. So everybody is, of course, welcome and invited to participate in this one. I think it will be a lot of fun. They are great facilitators, and they're great projects in their own right. So we're very, very excited about that. And otherwise, maybe let's go a quick round around what questions you have, if you have any more questions outstanding. And meanwhile, we'll share with you in our Telegram chat the participation guide if we haven't yet. But like a lot of questions are answered there, a lot of practical things. So if you have a question right now, raise your hand. Otherwise, we might be complete. Any burning questions or suggestions? Yes, okay, so then maybe we are good and we are complete. So thank you so much for being here. Thank you. Really, really good to see your faces. Really look forward to seeing you. Dylan just shared in the chat the
Participation guide.
guidelines. Yeah, the practical guidelines. We'll also share on Telegram. This session is recorded. Please share with others who need to see it. And yeah, it's coming very soon. See you in, I guess, 2 weeks' time, maybe a little bit more. And look forward to co-creating and imagining, dreaming together and making it all much more tangible and real.
Thank you so much, everyone. Look forward to meeting you. Thank you for all your contributions and your thoughts. And yeah, looking forward to things in action. Thank you. Thank you.